Hi, it's Chris Larson again, President of Sports and Entertainment Atlantic, and we're delighted to have another segment of Connecting Through Sport for you today. We're really pleased that Kevin Dickie has joined us from his home in Wolfville. Kevin is the executive director of Acadia Athletics, and also Destination Acadia, the destination marketing organization for the Valley area. Kevin, thank you so very much for being with us. Appreciate you making time.
Yeah, thanks for having me there, Lars.
You've got a very extensive and successful background in the business of sport, particularly hockey, but also as a player and a coach emanating back in Western Canada. Share with us your background, your journey through sport as a competitor, and then how it led you to the coaching and then the management side of the game.
Yeah, it's a great question. It's a path not often traveled, I would say. You know, for me, I wanted to be a school teacher as a young person growing up, and that's what I went into education for, you know, at the University of Saskatchewan. And I don't know, when I finished playing, I knew I wanted to coach, and it was the weirdest thing in the world. And it's part of why I went into phys ed as a high school teacher, and you know, just wanted to pursue the hockey thing. And it's weird how that happened. So the pathway from a high school teacher to a hockey coach, and you know, I did that for 18 years, and then it's kind of strange to think that led me to being an athletic director. I'm not sure you could do that at nowadays in 2020. You know, back in 2005, there was a pathway when they were looking for people that were coaches or whatever, but I think the portfolio now kind of lends to more of a broader, let's say, body of work than maybe I had at that time. But you know, I've loved it. It's been 16 years as an AD, and I'm at the best school in the country as far as I'm concerned at Acadia, and just you know, things have turned out really well.
What was that first coaching posting when you came out of high school, being a high school teacher? What's the first team you coached?
That's great. Hey, you know what? And it's funny because it's times like this where you think about what was that first time, and it was coaching a AA midget team in Kindersley, Saskatchewan. And the way our population worked in Saskatchewan, you had to compete within the bandwidth or the population you were a part of. But we couldn't. We had to jump up for us to compete, and we won a AA championship my first year coaching. And yeah, I think that's what hooked me. Like just to kind of go from never coaching before to have won a championship with a group of guys that I actually, quite frankly, am still in touch with. It just became a labor of love, and you know, it was something I love doing, and I almost feel like a coach right now as an athletic director. It's just part of being a part of sport.
And other than moving on from being a minor hockey coach, what would have been your first club team coaching assignment back then?
Well, I went from there to, believe it or not, I was the assistant coach of the Medicine Hat Tigers in the Western Hockey League, 1989, and we had a great team. We had, I think we had 3 first rounders at that time, and you know, a whole bunch of draft picks, and we were right there to be able to compete for a WHL championship. And yeah, I cut my teeth as an assistant coach with a great person, Ron Kennedy, at that time.
I'll just throw it in for a color sidebar. Recently, I was catching up by phone with Kevin Kaminski, a fellow Saskatchewan person of great color. From that area, and he was reminiscing about the 1989 Memorial Cup team that I guess lost to Swift Current, if I remember, in overtime.
So Lars, I'll give you a little scoop here. I was a scout in Swift Current at that time. I actually scouted for Swift Current, so that would have been the year before, if I'm not mistaken. I went to Medicine Hat, and I was teaching in Kindersley, scouted for Swift Current. You know, I know Kevin fairly well, and one of the best, and I know people are adverse to fighting, but one of the best fights I've ever seen in my life was Ty Domi and Kevin Kaminski. in the middle of the Memorial Cup. Yeah, it was exceptional event back home in Saskatoon, 1989 Memorial Cup.
Yeah, we got to that, and then we'll move on. But they had brought that team back, Kevin, the 1989 team when Saskatoon hosted the Memorial Cup in 2013,
Yeah,
which Halifax Mooseheads won. So we shared
unbelievable.
thoughts around all that. Anyway, moving on. You ended up coming east. How did that happen?
Well, again, it's kind of funny how you hit a fork in the road. You go one way or the other. And, for me, I had two young boys at the time when I was coaching in Saskatoon. And, in order to kind of take that next step in where I wanted to go as a coach, I knew it was going to be a rocky road. Like there's, coaching in hockey is such a tough grind. And, to kind of chase that dream for me was to be the world junior head coach, to be honest with you, at that time, and to coach in the NHL. And, I went through an experience in Saskatoon that I was really appreciative of having the opportunity, but I knew that to continue on that journey was going to be something where at times you don't control your destiny. And an opportunity came up at the University of New Brunswick as the athletic director, and I pursued it, and was lucky to have, achieved it. And, got there 6 years at UNB, and it's kind of led me to now going on 11 years at Acadia as an athletic director, and I would not take a do-over.
I know I was looking at some stats the other day. Share with us, if you would, if it's on the tip of your tongue. Between UNB and Acadia, how many national championships have those schools hosted under your watch?
Oh, it's crazy. At UNB, we were 6 years, and we hosted 5 championships. And here at Acadia, we hosted 4. And then on top of that, you think about the UTEC and Mitchell Bowls that we hosted. It's been great. And I've been lucky. You know what? At UNB, I had a good staff. And, here at Acadia, the people I get a chance to work with all the time, they're some of my best friends. Will be best friends forever. And when you can kind of take your job and combine it with what I just said, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, no kidding. And then March 12th rolled around. We were in the midst of a University Cup event at Scotiabank Center, and the world turned upside down because of the COVID pandemic. Certainly a very trying time that we both went through. But my point here is that indeed the world did turn upside down, and we've gone into this, as I call it, the great pause. And Acadia, as in all organizations, whether sporting or otherwise, have had to deal with both internal and external challenges created by the pandemic. And I'd be interested in hearing, Kevin, how the athletic department and the school, and the wider community of the school, has handled ensuring that your employees are safe, that students are safe. How have you managed the workflow during this interruption? Are you working from home? Are you into a blended home and office? What has been the Acadia solution internally?
Well, first of all, if you rewind to back on March 13th, I mean, hats off to you at SCA, hats off to U Sports, and hats off to Acadia. I thought we handled as difficult a situation as good as we could. I thought that the people that steered the ship did as good a job as they could do. And, it's good things, even just to try and understand leadership. I mean, what would you do over? I think that, you'd say the same thing I would, Chris, because you were a part of it, that, we did everything that we could do, and, it went as well as it could go, and it was a difficult time. So, it kind of fast forward a couple of months to now at Acadia. Yeah, it's difficult. People they're antsy. They want to know what's going to happen. And, yet at the same time is that you can only control what you can control. And we've got a great institution here. And our goal is to have, because it's what makes Acadia special. It's that it's not about getting a degree, or not about achieving a mark in a class. It's about that intersection of experiential learning plus learning. And we really want to get people back here in September, and we're working and doing everything that we can to make that happen. And, so far so good, but we're at the mercy of public health and everything that goes along with it. So right now, working from home, getting into the office periodically, and hopefully there'll be a bit of a turnover the next little bit.
Yeah, not an unusual story, obviously, although we're starting to see a bit of blend in home and office, which maybe once we round the corner will be the new model for workplace setups with offices and home placements being common in one company. Externally, Acadia has a large footprint in the valley, not only in terms of reputation but engagement with the community. The foresight and vision you had creating the DMO, the Destination Marketing Organization called Destination Acadia, is proof of that. What is it that you're doing as an athletic department and as a university to keep your key stakeholders in the community apprised and appraised of what's going on? Your members at your athletic facility, your season ticket holders for varsity sports, how are you managing those relationships these days?
Well, I think there's two parts to that. I'm a big believer in over communication, and if that means too much information, it's better than the opposite. And the other thing too, we're pretty lucky in the valley where there's, I don't know how to explain it. It's almost 0 degrees separation between us and our constituents. Like, you run into them all the time. And, so whereas maybe in a bigger city, you might need social media to be on your side, or the newspaper, the radio, here, I think through osmosis, I think our people are pretty much in the loop. And, we count on our constituents, our season ticket holders, our fitness center users. But I think for the most part, I think everybody's up to speed and understands we're just in an uncertain time. There's no playbook, and we're not sure what the next step is.
Yeah, and you're probably answering what I was just going to ask with that response. But once we do round the corner, whenever that may be, how do you, there's been a huge announcement of the youth sports with respect to the fall sports season, which basically has shut down fall sports at universities in Canada, and the community college community has followed suit as well. But once we round the corner, how do you see the new reality working at Acadia? Do you see a blend of classroom and in classroom and virtual? How do you see athletics being addressed this fall in the presence of no games and no championships?
Well, first of all, we do see a blend of online instruction plus students being on campus, and those students would include our student athletes. And we owe it to them to be able to provide an opportunity to develop, to train, hopefully compete in some way, shape, or form, even if it's a scaled down version. And then the other thing is that the good part about our community, they're servant leaders, and we need them out there and continuing to be that. So that's kind of what we see going into the fall. We've been working hard on an alternate sport model in terms of what it could look like. You and I talked offline about, even esports. You'd have never thought of that a couple of years ago, but is there a way, shape, or form that can, enter into university life? We're looking at that right now, and it's crazy. I would have never thought in my time as an AD that would be the case, but, just everything's on the table right now.
Yeah, no question. Interesting days ahead, and more questions than answers, no matter what perspective you look at it from or at. To wrap us up today, a colorful, successful career as a competitor, as a coach, and as an athletic director. Are you able to share with us what your single most memorable highlight or favorite moment is of your career?
Yeah, you know what, and you and I have talked about this before, I think that, you could say the championship here, the championship there, and, I think those things will always be special. I was lucky where, both of my sons, that I had a chance to be able to kind of do their thing in basketball and hockey and stuff like that. Like that to me paramounts everything. But, in terms of myself personally, to have had a chance to be able to have people that you coach come back and thank you. It's it sounds cliche, but it's way, way bigger for me than anything that I would have won or done. Been able to stay close with a lot of people. Even as an athletic director, you think that you might not have that same connection, but I really do. It's what I love about being at Acadia versus a bigger school. You're kind of hands-on all the time with student athletes. And, when they ask you to write a letter of reference and they're wondering, would you be willing to do it? And you're just going, oh my gosh, this is why I do my job. That's, to me, the most important thing. So I think that'd be the bottom line.
Well, those are certainly very rewarding moments when those that you may have had a chance to mentor and guide, direct the right way, show some recognition and appreciation for that. We've had the opportunity today to speak with Kevin Dickie, the Executive Director of Athletics at Acadia and also the Executive Director of Destination Acadia. Thank you, Kevin, for sharing time with us. We much appreciate you joining us for this conversation. Good luck to the Acadia X-Men as we go forward.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. And you know what, I'd be remiss if I got off of here and just didn't acknowledge that what Sport and Entertainment Atlantic is doing in Metro for the province, for Atlantic Canada. You think about, you've got footprints right now in a whole bunch of different directions with, just the Maritime Hockey League and, even in PEI with the championships that they've hosted. And you guys are doing a great job and just, keep it going. And it's a difficult time, but we're all going to come out and we're going to be better for it.
Here to that. Thank you, Kevin. All the very best.
Okay, thank you.